All right. I want to welcome everybody to the OHD webinar, which is going to give everyone an overview on our revolutionary new fit testing instrument, the QuantiFit2. We're very excited about hosting this webinar, and I really appreciate y'all for tuning in. Give a little intro so you can kind of know all the OHD people that are here to help. So once again, my name is Booth Armstrong, and I'm the national manager at OHD. I've got Dr. Lynch, who's our global product manager. Dr. Lynch, if you want to give him a little wave. So we're excited about having her today. Dr. Lynch's primary role in the presentation is she's going to walk us through the technical side of how the QuantiFit2 determines the fit and integrity of a respirator. She's going to walk us through the patented controlled negative pressure technology, and she'll also be walking us through our fit testing process, which is called the read-on protocol. And excited about her participation in the webinar and that information that she's going to provide. Then we have our marketing manager, Justin Lobdale. And really appreciate Justin. Justin's done a lot of the heavy lifting of getting the webinar arranged and getting the messaging out there. So I appreciate that a ton. Justin is also going to be managing the chat feature. So as we're going through the presentation, if you have questions, please, access that chat feature and let Justin know. Just for you to be aware, if we get multiple questions that are kind of in the same stream, we're going to take some natural pauses throughout the presentation to address some of those questions. So, use the chat feature to have any questions that you have put there. And I think we're in a good spot for our launch into the presentation. Dr. Lynch, I'm going to let you take it away and walk us into the controlled negative pressure technology and to the read-on protocol.
Perfect.
Okay, good morning, everyone. So jumping right in, thank you for that introduction, Booth. We did a little slide kind of introducing ourselves too. It's now going to be a bit redundant. That's okay. So that's me. I'm our product manager, and that's Booth. He's our national sales manager. We hope that you'll find the information here helpful. So getting right to it, and I apologize for not knowing how versed everyone is here with our technology, but I want to get us all on the same page. Controlled negative pressure, or CNP, is, as Booth mentioned, the patented fit test technology that's applied by the OHD QuantiFit and also our QuantiFit2. It's the same technology we've been using for over 30 years, and it utilizes negative pressure as a direct measure of respirator leakage. We use air to challenge the respirator, and the QuantiFit uses air molecules that have an ambient concentration in the septillions. So simply put, when we're creating and maintaining a controlled negative pressure that's mimicking the inhale of an average human working in at a moderate rate, we're creating an environment within that respirator that's going to have all those air molecules just fighting to get in any way possible. So this is just a graphic showing how we're creating and maintaining that pressure. So our users take a comfortable breath. The adapter valve closes to seal the respirator, and this was accomplished with the trigger button in the legacy QuantiFit. And we've actually upgraded that user experience now. The machine can automatically sense that breath hold to initiate the test. So then the instrument pulls out air until it's reaching a set challenge pressure that's associated with the breathing rate within the respirator. If no leak were to be detected, then the pressure would remain constant. If leak is detected, then the QuantiFit or QuantiFit2 will work to remove air until that challenge pressure within the respirator has been met again. It does this for an 8-second measurement, and during that 8 seconds, it's tracking the exact amount of air that it's removing. And this is ultimately how it calculates a leak rate. And this is what makes it that direct measure of leakage. Our triple tube assembly has one line that's sealing off the adapter breathing ports. and then a dual tube with one side measuring any air that is leaking into the mask, into the respirator, and another that's evacuating that leaked air and maintaining a negative pressure within the respirator. So we didn't change anything about how CMP is actually challenging your respirator. We believe it's already challenging and in the most accurate and reliable way, but we have really done a lot to upgrade that user experience and the usability in the QuantiFit2. So another thing we didn't change is our protocol, which is the fastest fit test protocol that you can do. It's our read-on protocol through OSHA. And we'll actually get to see that fully demonstrated by Booth, but all the steps have remained the same. If you're familiar with our fit test, you're gonna face forward, bend over, you're gonna shake your head and yell, and then you're gonna perform those 2 read-ons, which are really one of the greater features of our technology, because we allow for you to test the user's ability to perform an appropriate donning of their respirator repeatedly. So we really pride ourselves on that. So I'm going to move into the legacy features, and this is where Booth is going to step in. So we're going to hand it off to Booth.
Thank you, Dr. Lynch. Like Dr. Lynch communicated, the method that we use to challenge the respirator in the testing process that our subjects go through, that is all going to stay the same with the QuantiFit2. That's intact. So are a lot of our legacy features and benefits. A lot of things that made the QuantiFit special, the legacy QuantiFit special, are still intact with the QuantiFit2. So we wanted to walk through those real quick for you. So the QuantiFit2 still does the 2-minute fit test. The QuantiFit2 will still allow you to retest a failed step. So if you get to step 4 and you fail the step, due to a cough or something like that, or a minor adjustment that needs to be made, you can retest that step without having to start the whole testing process over again. That is unique to our technology, as other technologies that are recognized at times require you to start the testing process all over again. There's still no consumables required by the QuantiFit2. Making our technology the only recognized technology that does not require a consumable to quantitatively challenge the fit and integrity of a respirator. Still no testing environment needed. Once again, we're the only system recognized by your regulatory bodies that does not require a threshold of ambient particles in the air in the testing environment. We can test in any environment. We don't have to be in a small room with the door closed. We don't have to have a particle generating device or consider any of those things. We can be a small room, large room. We can be in a clean room, dirty room. We can be indoors or outdoors. The QuantiFit2 will allow you to test in any environment and accurately challenge the fit and integrity of a respirator. We're the only system that does not require you to probe the respirator. What is probing? The other methods that are recognized require a tube be run into the breathing zone of the respirator, into the nose cup, between the nose and mouth, to effectively take the in-mask sample. Our technology has never required a probing of the respirator to effectively get the in-mask sample. The QuantiFit2 does not require any probing as well. We are going to continue to connect to the respirators using the exact same adapters we did with the legacy QuantiFit, and the adapters just connect to the mask the same way a filter does. So you'll never have to probe the respirator. You'll never have to have probing supplies, worry about cross-contamination concerns with probing supplies. None of that is involved with a QuantiFit2 test. We're still using that, as Dr. Lynch did a great job, we're still using that patented controlled negative pressure technology to challenge that seal. We're the only recognized method that challenges the fit and integrity of the respirator by asking how much air is penetrating the seal of the respirator. All other methods that are recognized ask how many particles are penetrating the seal of the mask. We ask how much air is penetrating the seal of the mask. We're using the most stringent challenge agent. to challenge that seal and that fit, which gives us a very, very accurate fit test. The other thing that Dr. Lynch mentioned, that's a favorite part of mine of our technology, is we can tell you the direct measurement of leakage that comes into a respirator. So when you're challenging the respirator with the QuantiFit2, if air breaches the seal of that mask, the QuantiFit2 is going to count that air. It's going to calculate that air into the OSHA recognized equation, and that's going to influence your fit factor. With other methods that are recognized, they cannot ensure that a direct measurement of leakage, that all the leakage that penetrates the mask is calculated and affects the fit factor due to the fact that there's a competition for the challenge agent. Meaning if a particle penetrates the mask, there's no guarantee that it will be collected by the sampling tube, as it could be collected by the test subject's lungs, and the test subject could breathe that particle in, and that could affect its ability to identify that leakage. These are all things that have been legacy features and benefits of our technology, and all of those legacy features and benefits are still intact, and we're excited that we were able to enhance on the already great things that we had to offer in quantitative respirator fit testing. What I'd like to do now is move to the next slide, where we'll be able to walk through some of the new features and benefits of the QuantiFit2, how we've enhanced the QuantiFit2. Now, we want y'all to know our goal with the enhancements was to continue to break free from the traditional fit testing restraints. We wanted to find ways to continue to innovate and break through restraints of your quantitative testing. So let me kind of walk you through some of the ways that we've enhanced the QuantiFit2. So first thing I'll tell you about is a feature called Auto Start. We're pretty excited about this. If you're familiar with our legacy technology, the test subject would draw a breath and hold their breath, and then they would press and hold a button to activate the instrument, the legacy QuantiFit. With the QuantiFit2, we've got a feature called Auto Start. And what that is the QuantiFit2 has the ability to sense when the test subject draws and holds their breath. So the test subject will draw their breath, hold their breath. The QuantiFit2 will sense that, and it will engage the testing process without ever requiring the test subject to press and hold a button. If you're auto start, if you're not a fan of the auto start, that's great. We've got a way where you can also engage the testing process just by tapping a button on the new colored touchscreen that we'll get into a minute. But we think the auto start feature is going to be great. We're very excited about that. The next thing I'm going to tell you about is the battery. I'll give you some specs on the battery in another slide that we have in just a second. But this is one of the ways that we've continued to break the restrictions or limitations on quantitative testing. So one of the things that we love about the QuantiFit2 is you can test anywhere. Small room, large room, clean room, dirty room, indoors, outdoors. You never have to consider the testing environment or creating a testing environment. The beautiful thing about the QuantiFit2 is it can also be run off of battery power. It does not require mainline power, okay? So now you really don't have any restrictions. You could literally test outside at a picnic table on a beautiful spring day, which we all hope are headed our way, and not have to consider how mainline power would come into play. There's so many aspects of the battery power. It could create social distancing. It could let us do fit testing outside, all creating safer environments in our current environment to do testing. So the battery just continues to remove limitations on fit testing. The instrument absolutely can run off of mainline power, but the battery undoubtedly will allow you to have more freedom in your testing. I'll give you some specs on the battery in just a second. The next thing I'd like to tell you about is performing multiple tests simultaneously. So this is a neat feature for our tech, a neat step for our tech. So the QuantiFit2, you can connect and you can run multiple QuantiFit2s from one computer. So you can either hardwire or USB connect multiple QuantiFit2s to one computer. So we could technically have 4 QuantiFit2s connected to one computer, 5 QuantiFit2s connected to one computer, 10 plus QuantiFit2s connected to one computer, and all of those units could simultaneously be testing, and you could manage all of those tests at one time from one computer. Now, the really, really neat thing about this is these are not only simultaneously being managed, these units are not only simultaneously being managed by one computer, but they can each be independently managed. What I'm communicating there is station 1 could be on step 1. Station 2 could be on step 3. Station 4 could be on step 4, and station 5 could be finishing the test. They can completely independently be in their own process at their own time, but all be being managed simultaneously from one computer. That's a step in the right direction or an innovation for our technology, and it's a part of the QuantiFit2. And for users that have multiple instruments, that could be a really, really neat feature for them. So that's the perform multiple steps. The next thing I'll tell you about is the colored touchscreen. The colored touchscreen brings a lot to the table. Interactive troubleshooting, test step animations, on-screen signature capture. The colored touchscreen kind of unlocked a lot of things for us. So I'll start off with animations. All types of animations are now in play with the colored touchscreen. We've got animations on how to do your daily calibration, animations on remembering to prop the valve open when you're doing an APR respirator, testing an APR respirator, animations on how to connect your tubes properly to the adapter when you're wanting to connect your tubes to the adapter. We even have an avatar that will walk you through the testing process now, animated test steps that are there. So you have written instructions for the 5-step read-on protocol, but you also have an avatar that's facing forward, faces the floor, shakes their head, removes the mask and redons it, and actually provides a visual animation through the testing process. So lots of animations are unlocked with the colored touchscreen. On-screen signature capture. Okay, so this is really neat as well. Now, whether you're testing with the instrument standalone or you're testing with the instrument and you're managing it via our new software, OHD Logic, test subjects can sign their fit test results virtually through the on-screen signature capture. And you'll get a chance to experience that today. And we even have a sample report we'll be able to show you with the virtual signature. So virtual signatures can be taken through the on-screen signature capture, which is a neat advancement of our technology. The next thing I'll pivot to is our onboard data capability, okay? The previous instrument, the legacy QuantiFit, great instrument. Admittedly, it had its restraints on onboard capability. The previous QuantiFit would not store companies. You could not store test subjects. You could not store respirators. The only thing that you could store on the previous QuantiFit, the legacy QuantiFit, was about 500 fit test results, and then it would cap out at 500 fit test results. And the QuantiFit, the legacy QuantiFit, had a very, very narrow limitations on what printers that it could actually connect with. It was basically 1 or 2 HP printers were the only printers that interfaced well with the legacy QuantiFit. The QuantiFit2 makes large strides in the right direction when it comes to its onboard data capability. So the QuantiFit2 has a number of things. One, you can store as many companies. You can store as many test subjects. You can store as many fit test results as you want on the unit itself, okay? The unit also has the ability to run fit test result reports directly from the unit now. There is a very, very vast and large interface with printers, so you can basically connect any printer directly to the QuantiFit2 now. And what we talked about on the color touchscreen, but it's also a part of the new onboard data capability. There is interactive troubleshooting, built into the technology. So if a failure occurs, the technology has the ability to provide some assistance on why that failure may have occurred. And I'm actually going to get an opportunity to share that with you in just a second. So much more robust onboard data capability. The unit itself acts much more like our legacy unit acted when it was paired with FitTrack Gold, our previous software. So the ability to manage your fit testing program with the unit by itself is much, much more realistic than it ever has been when it comes to our technology. So we're excited about the onboard data capability. We've changed the design of the QuantiFit. It's now got a new vertical design, which we're excited about. You can see I'm running off of battery power right now, and there's a good look at the vertical design. We love the design of the new unit. The next thing I'll tell you about is the lifetime powertrain warranty. And I'm going to hit that powertrain warranty a little bit in the coming slides. I'll give you some specifics on what that lifetime powertrain warranty includes. But let me just give you the overall gist of the lifetime powertrain warranty. When you buy a QuantiFit2, it comes with a bumper-to-bumper 2-year warranty, 24 months, everything's covered. That's very standard in our industry. The QuantiFit2, however, is bringing something to the industry that's never been done before. The QuantiFit2 is the first recognized quantitative fit testing instrument that has a lifetime powertrain warranty, meaning that all the major guts inside the QuantiFit are covered for the life of the instrument, okay? Now, to keep that lifetime powertrain warranty intact, the only thing the customer has to do is get the unit calibrated on an annual basis, which is required anyway. If you're going to use the instrument to do an OSHA, a CSA, or another global body recognized test, then it has to be calibrated on an annual basis, as all quantitative instruments do. They all have to be calibrated annually to do a recognized quantitative test. So as long as you're doing your calibration like you're supposed to and have to, then you have a lifetime powertrain warranty that stays intact. And once again, that is really unique to the QuantiFit2 and an industry first, and we're excited about offering that. Now, before I transition to giving you a little bit more just specs on the battery, the lifetime powertrain warranty, etc., I want to check in with Justin. Is there any questions, Justin, that have kind of been recurring that I should maybe address now, or maybe something that I've skipped over that I can clear up?
Yeah, I think there's a couple that we could go over. Dr. Lynch, we have had a few in regards to COVID-19 considerations. Would this be a good place to address that real quick?
Booth got a quick second in there talking about the ability to maintain that physical distancing, but so many of our features are really actually end up kind of helping us in this new normal that we're living in, because with that auto start functionality, you're able to limit the touching, right? Even with that on-screen capture, a lot of us are now carrying around stylus, so we don't have to make that contact with that screen. You're able to set up stations with Bluetooth. So all of this stuff that Booth was talking about with being able to run multiple users, you're able to space those out. You could be in an outdoor space with your tables set up well over 6 feet apart, and you could be in a completely different area set aside from them, connect to all of those, and be able to monitor those tests. Booth will be able to show us later, but within that software, it's going to show each of those tests. It'll alert you if you have a failure or one of them who needs attention. I do want to point out that there's nothing inherent about the fit test process that's going to either increase or decrease risk when it comes to the spread of something like COVID, because of how fit testing is performed. Without those filters in place, the person being fit tested is not being inherently protected by their respiratory protection. And then also that operator, because of how respirators function with that open exhalation valve, typically we're seeing more of these elastomerics without the exhalation valve, but The older style with that exhalation valve free flowing, the operator's not being protected. So, we want to encourage any of our users, if you are using the legacy instrument, to just, be diligent in that process of you're still subject to all of the surface contamination. You still need to maintain that physical distance. Also, just allow yourself a little bit of grace as far as time, right? Giving yourself a little bit more time between tests, letting the air clean out, using as open a space as possible. Hopefully that kind of puts a little bit of information out there for how we're dealing with COVID.
Absolutely. I think that's perfect. Thank you. We have received some other questions, but I'm fairly confident that we will be addressing those in the slides to come. So if we want to go ahead and just progress to that detail on the battery.
Slide. Yeah. And also, Dr. Lynch, for all those with the cross-contamination concerns, Dr. Lynch did an amazing job last year, really kind of providing a lot of resources regarding, the questions with cross-contamination. Dr. Lynch, if individuals visit our YouTube channel as the panel discussion and the discussion regarding cross-contamination, are all those things still up on that and available?
They are still up and available. We, of course, ended up doing probably 3 iterations as things kept getting changed and updated throughout this wonderful COVID experience. But the most recent panels, the most recent videos, informative videos we've done on COVID, and our newest materials are available.
That's awesome. And if y'all have questions about that in particular, please don't hesitate to reach out to OHD's tech support or your OHD contact, and we'll make sure that we provide any additional support. So with that covered, what we'll do is we'll circle back now to our presentation. Some specs on the battery. The battery is a rechargeable battery. We can recharge it hundreds of times. We've got the research that shows after hundreds of complete drains and recharges, the battery still operates at well above 70% of its original capacity. So there's, recharge it hundreds of times. On a full charge, the battery will run for 4+ hours. Now, that's not just 4 hours of idly just sitting here. That's 4 hours of cranking out tests, the pump running, the whole 9 yards. So that's some specs on the battery. The battery is not sold with the system. The system comes with the power cable to be run off of mainline power. If you want to buy the battery, it's sold separately. A battery costs like $350. And so that's the story on the battery. And once again, the win on the battery is to continue unlocking all respirator fit testing environmental restrictions. And we just think this will continue to remove limitations via the battery. Next, we can jump into, I think we've got, the LED touchscreen. I'm going to get a chance to show y'all a simulator in a second, but this is a neat little slide that we have that kind of introduces you to the OHD avatars. They're the new staff members at OHD, and they work around the clock, and they always do a great job. So we appreciate having our avatars join the team. So, and we'll show you the simulator in just a second. Lifetime powertrain warranty. Just wanted to give you a look at kind of what that was specifically. You can see that the pressure engine assembly, the solenoid valves, the diaphragm pump, the plumbing, the wiring harness, and ribbon cables are all covered for the life of the equipment. Once again, the only requirement to keep the lifetime powertrain warranty in place is to get your annual calibration performed by an authorized service center from OHD. So those are there. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you, and we're going to let you have an experience with the QuantiFit2. Now, what I want to start with on the experience is going to be, I want to start by sharing with you a simulator. So what you're seeing on your screen right now is the LED colored touchscreen that's on the QuantiFit2. Sharing the colored touchscreen and some of the demo, the aspects of it is hard via the glare and stuff like that. So we've got a simulator here, just to kind of show you, like, this is your daily verification or calibration. There's your first introduction to some of our new animations. Yes, if you're very, very aware of our legacy technology, you can see when doing the daily verification or calibration, we moved all the connections to the front of the instrument, so you're no longer having to reach around the back of the instrument. That's something small, but admittedly one of my favorite things that we did. You can come here to settings. Once again, this is all on the unit now. So this is all onboard aspects. This is where you can update the software on the unit. This is where you can set up admin operator privileges on the unit. That's new and wasn't available in our legacy technology. This is where we store respirators on the unit. And what you're allowed to do as an operator is come to this section and identify what respirators you're going to be testing. So if I was going to test this 3M6000 series respirator, maybe this Avon M50 respirator, and then, maybe the G1, and then maybe I was going to be testing the Scott AV, the new C5. And once again, you can click on these and see a picture at any point in time. You can edit respirators, add respirators. But what you simply do is you select the respirators that you're going to be testing, and then you just save those respirators. And then when you're on the testing screen and you're setting up testing, you'll see that it presents just the respirators that you're going to be testing. And you can always revisit this list if there's another respirator that comes into the group of respirators that you're going to be testing. So we're going to go to our home screen here. Here's where you could run reports directly from the QuantiFit2. The simulator doesn't have any fit testing history in it, so I can't really run reports here, but you can see that you can run reports directly from the unit. We're going to go to the testing section. You could add people. You could import people, groups of people into the unit all at one time, but we're just going to get a sample test running so you can get an idea of what it looks like for the test subject when they're standing in front of the QuantiFit2 and they're going through their fit test, their quantitative fit test. So before the test, it asks them, does it have the right name? Is it the right make and model respirator? Do we have the right size? Who's the operator? Do we have the right challenge pressure? Do we have the right fit factor? Everything looks good. Here's where you get an introduction to another one of our animations, where you can see how we're reminding people to prop open the inhalation valve on those APR respirators. Then you can see that we're coming here. We have an animation that helps you hook up the tubes correctly. And now we're to our avatar. He's doing a seal check. We're going to pass right by the seal check. And now you can see we've got written instructions and a visual animation aid that's leading a test subject through the process. You can see we're going to run a step right here. So here we're running our first step in the simulator. The graph is the same graph. This is the QuantiFit building pressure. That's it holding pressure. You can see we got a pass there. We're going to move to the next step. And our avatar is going to bend over at the waist and face the floor and hold his breath. And we're going to run another step. And our avatar is doing a phenomenal job, looking great, holding his breath. Everything's looking good. We are going to move to step number 3. And we are going to do the shake of the head. And we're going to go ahead and get that step running. And we're rocking and rolling here. This is once again just to give you a feel of what the LED color touchscreen brings to the fit testing experience. So now we're on step 4 where we're removing the mask and redonning it. Now this is going to be cool. What we're going to do here is I'm actually going to run a failed step. And I want to run the failed step so I can show you that interactive troubleshooting, which is a new capability of the onboard unit. So you see I failed a step. I can either move forward and accept that failure. I can go back and retest that step, or I've got this new feature right here. I can click it. Now the simulator doesn't show you your graph, but if this was on the unit, what would happen is there would be a picture of your failed graph right here. And then what you can do is you can cycle through these graphs right here until you find a graph that mirrors your failed graph. And at that point in time, you can read this excerpt and it will give you some ideas and some instruction on why that failure occurred. So it gives you some interactive troubleshooting right there when a failure occurs at the tip of your fingers. So we're going to go back. We're going to go back to step number 4. And we've made our adjustment. And on step 4, we're going to run it again. And we're going to get a good score here. Our avatar is back on track. And then we're going to go to step 5. Once again, it's the remove and redone. And we're going to get that step running. And now you'll get a good look at what experience has on the color touchscreen when a test is complete. So it gives us our overall score, our score for each step, the make, model, size, what testing parameter we were going for comes here. This is where you would get a chance to experience your onboard color touchscreen signature capture. So they could sign right there, and then the operator can sign right there. I like to say that virtual signatures make kindergarteners of us all. And then you get an animation to remind you to remove that valve prop, which is a neat little reminder, another great animation. And now we would come to the end of the test where you could print that report, generate a PDF, review that test, or move on to the next test. So this is just a little simulator because I want you to have an idea of what a test subject is experiencing from the colored touchscreen while they're going through the testing process. Now, what I think will be great now is to pull up our software and actually get you a chance to experience the new OHD logic. I'm going to paint with a broad stroke here. We're not going to get into the nitty-gritty of everything, but experience the new OHD logic, and then I'll jump into a respirator and we'll show you a fit test via logic. This is our home page. This is a page where you can add companies. This is a page where you can add people. Here's our settings page. On the setting pages, you have devices. This is where you can Bluetooth connect devices. You can see I'm connected to 2 units right now. Options, you've got lots of options here. Things that are as simple as, do you want to go light mode, dark mode on the software? This is neat. Here's where you can select what regulatory body you want your testing to be adhered to. So just some basic options. Respirators, here is where the cache or storage of respirators is in the software. Once again, you would just select the respirators that you're going to be challenging and testing. You can add new respirators, new sizes if needed, etc. And then here's where you could, data is where you can import, export, which is where if you have like FitTrack Gold, or if you have the Fit Tester 3000 and you want to import your fit testing data into OHD Logic, you can. And then last but not least, this is where you could run reports, all of the reports that we've always been able to run, whether it's reports showing who's due for a test, reports for individuals, reports for companies. We can run all of those reports. Still a very robust reporting feature to the new software. So we're going to come back to our homepage real quick and show you the homepage a little bit. This is my favorite aspect of the new software. So you can launch a test from the homepage at any time. Everything you see on the homepage is driven by whatever company you have selected here. So since I have OHD selected, I would be testing people from OHD. So when I hit subjects, it's only OHD employees. I can also come right over here and get a quick look at if anybody's past due for a test at OHD. I can take a quick look right here and see my testing history. What test have I done at OHD? I can click right here and quickly add someone to OHD on the fly. And then there's this neat feature right here called syncing. This is going to be a neat feature where you can Bluetooth connect your QuantiFit2 to OHD Logic. And let's say you wanted to take your QuantiFit2 out to do some testing at a site or a department today. And there was 55 people over there that you were going to be testing. You could you could Bluetooth connect your QuantiFit2 to the OHD Logic. You can grab the people from that company and you can toss them on to the OHD QuantiFit2. You could take your QuantiFit2 out there. All the people would be programmed, ready. You could select them, test them, store all their history right there from those tests, come back to your office, Bluetooth connect the QuantiFit2 to your computer and sync it and toss all those testing people right back into OHD Logic with all of their new tests present and accounted for. So that's a neat feature that will really allow you to continue to remove limitations on fit testing and utilize a lot of the onboard data capability that's now available. All right, with that, show you a test real quick. I'm going to select myself. Today, I'll jump in this Scott AV3000 respirator. Mine's going to be a medium. I can scroll down right here. You're going to see it wants me to choose which QuantiFit do I want to test on. I'm going to test on my unit. And then it wants to know, do I want to have auto start enabled? I do. I hit start. It gives me a valve prop message. It gives me a tube message. And then we are ready to go. Now, you'll see it says waiting right here. This is pretty cool. On the onboard unit, it's now asking me, do I have the right test subject? Do I have the right respirator size? Everything's great there. So I just hit, yep, I'm ready to go. And now you can see it says step is running. Now, for those who have multiple units, this is really neat. This is where the perform multiple tests simultaneously would come in. We're going to grab Luke. Luke's going to be in a 3M6000. His is going to be a medium. And we're going to hit start. This sounds great. This sounds great. And now Luke is connected to this device. It's waiting for him to register and say he's good to go. And now you can see how we could have multiple units running simultaneously. So, all right, now let me jump in this respirator and do a test. Now, while I'm doing a test, Dr. Lynch will provide you with some basic commentary. I'll mute my mic, and Dr. Lynch can provide you with some just basic commentary as I go through the testing process.
So one of the cool things about Booth being able to show you this is getting to see in action that auto start functionality. So Booth's going to go ahead and start his first test, and you can see that on the software we're able to track that. If Luke were able to come in, he'd be able to put on his mask. We could have him in a separate area. He'd be connected to the other QuantiFit2. I'd be able to follow that one right along. So Booth passed his first step. He's going to move on to that second step of our read-on protocol. But so he's not going to have any trouble just running through a test. If something were to pop up, we would be able to do the same troubleshooting on the instrument. We're hoping to soon have where we'll be able to have that troubleshooting right on screen here within the software. I can tell from my screen that so Booth's already on his third step, but we're seeing that second step finished. Now he's doing his third. But so being able to do these test steps like this, we didn't have to set it up this way. I could have been in here from my computer and have both of those machines running off of my computer so that we don't even have to be in the same room, really allowing for you to have that physical distancing and also just ease. You could set up a station that's for people to come in and do their fit testing. The machine's able with now our animations and the touch screen, they're essentially able to walk through that test themselves and just have you as the fit test administrator with that oversight and able to then intervene where you're needed. So it just really allows you to get a lot more done. So you're still able to focus on your other tasks because we know that a lot comes with, especially now, fit test administration. I want to make sure that I touched everything. Did we have anything else come in while we have a quick second?
Let me check.
So Booth was able to get through both of his read-ons. Again, that's just something that's unique to our technology, the ability for you to actually test your users in their ability to read on their mask appropriately, consistently, which we think is the most important part of respirator use. So there we go. Booth passed his test. I bet he's going to jump back on.
Very good. So you can see now I could save unsigned. I could save test or print test. The reason it's saying save unsigned, now this is really good. Right here, it's asking for the virtual signature from the test subject. So I'll sign that right there and accept that signature. And now you can see that instantly changed to save signed. So I'll save that test. And that gives you a look at kind of what the new enhanced QuantiFit2 test is all about. What I'll do now is I will stop the share and pass it back over so we can get back into our presentation.
I did want to make one quick note that we didn't touch on yet. Another cool thing about the QuantiFit2 is when you go in there and make that mask selection, you will have already previously set up, which country you're in, which regulation you're abiding by. So when you make that mask selection, the machine's going to know which protocol is best for you and run you through that appropriate protocol based on your country's regulation and then the mask that you've selected.
Absolutely.
Very good. While they're pulling up the presentation again, if you'll focus in on the presentation right now, we're going to send out a poll, and the poll will allow you to indicate if you'd like additional support on the QuantiFit, a quote sent on the QuantiFit2. So if you'll just answer that poll real quick, this is a way for anybody who's interested in getting support, a quote, an on-site demonstration, additional information. We can capture that quickly and provide rapid support. So just answer that poll right there, and you will be good to go.
And we will be showing a completed fit test report on one of these next slides. Someone just asked that.
Very good. All right, so if we'll once you get done with that poll, I'll give everybody a couple seconds to address that poll. Really appreciate y'all for that, and eager to provide rapid support as we discussed.
So this is that image of the completed fit test report. It's not specifically the one that Booth just did, but just for the person who asked.
Yeah, that's good. Good point. So a little bit about OHD logic. I already covered this. All the reporting that our previous legacy software and technology had, we have all that reporting, robust reporting. This is an example of the fit test result. It's not the result of my exact test, but you can see the virtual signatures. You can see what a report would entail. So that's that.
You have your little fit test card at the bottom for your record or for your employee's record.
That's great. That's great. You want to bump to the next one, Dr. Lynch? I hope everybody really got a chance. This is just once again a revisit of the ways that we've enhanced our technology. Battery powered, colored touchscreen, expanded onboard data capability, AutoStar, interactive troubleshooting, on-screen signature capture, the new OHD software. We endeavored to where you would get a chance to experience all of these enhancements that we're excited about. And our heart is, and we hope that this presentation was informative and it got you a first-class look at the new QuantiFit2. I think we're at a good spot now where we can answer any questions that are out there potentially and go from there.
I think we're doing a pretty good job at answering most of these in the presentations and, on an ongoing basis. And I know we're close to being out of time. I did want to notate that we will be following up with everyone after this webinar. So we will provide you access to the actual recording of this webinar. And then we'll give you some other kind of calls to action for if you would like to reach out to, Dr. Lynch or our technical support team, or our sales team as well. We'll kind of provide those resources to you guys in that post-webinar email, which you should be receiving at some point tomorrow. So, but we can certainly give it a few more seconds to see if there's anything else that people have to ask. One question was, does this unit require new adapters? So say they already have a legacy QuantiFit and they're wanting to upgrade to a QuantiFit2.
Your legacy adapter. Oh, go ahead, Booth.
Apologize. Great question. The adapters that work with our legacy technology will work with the QuantiFit2.
Perfect. I think that's all we have.
Thank
Very
you.
good. Dr. Lynch, you want to sign off for everybody?
We just appreciate your time and attention. We hope you got something out of it. Please reach out to any one of us And just thanks again.